Hi, my name is Soraya, and my topic was flipped classroom perception and psychology. For my first slide, my article was The Big Five Learning Goals, Exam Preparedness, and Preference for Flipped Classroom Teaching Evidence from a large psychology undergrad cohort. So, Leo Noyes stated that previous research has found that flipped classroom learning prior to the lecture and using the lecture time for consulting knowledge increases students' deep learning and has an association with improved grades. So the flipped classroom had a positive effect. But she also said that, however, not all students benefit equally from the flipping classroom, and there may be an important individual differences that influence preference for different teaching styles. Moving on to the next slide. Um, the name of my second article was Record Title Students' Perceptions of the Value of Using Videos as a Pre-Class Learning Experience in the Flipped Classroom. Long stated that the flipped classroom is an instructional model in which students view the learning content before class through instructor provided video lectures or other pre-class learning materials. And in class time is used for student-centered activity learning, which is basically what the last slide basically said. So I guess it also had a positive effect on the students. He also stated that findings demonstrate that students had positive attitudes towards using pre-class videos in the flipped classroom. Students had different perceptions toward the 4 types of pre-class learning materials used in this course, including 3 types of videos and texted formatted materials. Moving on to the next slide. My third article was called Record Title Using the Flipped Classroom Design, Students' Impression and Lessons Learned. Cummins stated, in a flipped classroom design, students learn the basics of course material at home and then apply their new knowledge to assignments, group work, and tests in the classroom. So she also stated that we use a flipped classroom design for a psychology research method and statistics course for fall semester 2012. Lecture material was placed on a blackboard as a PowerPoint slides and MP3 audio files. Class time was spent doing individual assignments over chapter content, group work on research articles and data collection, projects, and whole class activities for reviewing the material. Lastly, she also stated this. Do our students prefer this format? Do they find it to be more work than they wanted or can handle with their specific life circumstances? What I said to that was, if the flipped classroom can work for people with like jobs and kids and etc., basically like, because she said, did they find it to be more work than they wanted or can handle with their specific life circumstances? So like basically, would it work better for people that have kids and jobs, like I said, etc., which it might. We surveyed students about their experiences with this structure and requested suggestions for improving the design. She said overall the students had positive reactions to this course design. Moving on to my next slide. My fourth article, Record Title Flipped Classroom Research and Trends from Different Fields of Study. The author said this paper aims to analyze the trends and contents of flipped classroom. Research based on 20 articles report on flipping learning classroom activities. The content analyzes we use a methodology to investigate areas of study. So technology, tools, or online platforms. The most frequently keywords used and works cited references, impacts for students learning the flipped classroom challenges. So basically talks about like if they can use a flipped classroom in different majors and different like outside of like psychology, like can you use it for like communications, like different types of majors. For that one. So my final article, moving on to the next slide, extending the flipped classroom model, developing second language writing skills through student created digital videos. When reading this slide, I kind of thought it was talking about like student to student flipped classroom, like, which was, I guess, different from every other article that I've read. So basically it says that students were expected to follow a model, research a topic, and craft a digital video tutorial on an aspect of academic writing, which would form a part of the already established flipped classroom model. So the feedback that she got from the students says, feedback from students suggests that there was tension between students as producers and students as consumers. So that's what made me think that the flipped classroom was like student to student. So it says that student created videos promoted second language learning through research, simplification, explanation, and encouraged more focus on form, promoting accuracy in English. However, it was also noted that students prefer a teacher explanation than a peer explanation, and there was concerns over the trustworthiness of a peer-produced video tutorial. So that's what kind of made me think that it was like a student-to-student flipped classroom, which is kind of different than the regular flipped classroom. So that was my last article.